All right, good morning, sixth graders. This is Friday, May 8th, and last day of the week. And now we'll have the weekend after today's work. So that's something to look forward to. I hope it's a nice weekend. All right, let's take a look at our reading lesson today. It says, read the drama, use the study buddy and the close reading to guide your reading. Okay, so drama is like a play, and it'll have stage directions and characters who speak, and so that's what we've got today. It says to use the study buddy. It says under the study buddy, it says to help me understand the plot of this drama, I'm going to identify its episodes. And then the close reading says, how is James and Jamal's problem solved? Circle the episode at the end of the play that resolves their conflict. All right, well, we're going to read this, or I'll read it out loud, and then you can answer the questions. But so let's take a look at Lost in Time. The very first part says, those are like stage directions. So it says, the curtain rises on an elaborate museum exhibit featuring a gigantic T-Rex skeleton. Two boys gaze up at it with awe. So awe means amazement. So you want to picture that in your mind, that they're at the museum looking up at this T-Rex skeleton. That's the point of those directions. All right, so now Jamal says, look at the enormous size of that thing's teeth. And James says, that thing is the tyrant king of the dinosaur world, the ferocious and infamous Tyrannosaurus Rex. Jamal, cool. Mr. Flynn will have a field day with this guy. Now here's more directions. As they glance around, the boys discover they're alone. James, we've lost our class. They must have kept going. Jamal, well, we'll just have to find the mummies, right? James, yeah, but we have a ton of territory to cover. All right, and now we have some more directions. The boys begin walking. As they pass the T-Rex, a tremendous roar booms out and they jump back, terrified. Jamal, is it just me or did that skeleton make noise? All right, James, breathing heavily. Yes, sound effects, I suppose. We have to find our class. We're 4 hours from home. Jamal, feels like we're in the jungle a billion years ago. And then we've got more directions. A vast variety of dinosaur sounds resonate as the boys continue trekking through the museum. Suddenly, a distressed teacher hurriedly runs onto the stage. And Mr. Flynn says, James, Jamal, I've been searching everywhere. What were you? And then he becomes, it says there, extremely distracted. This is a remarkable new exhibit. We have just enough time to get the class and take in the dinosaur display before lunch. All right, so that's our selection there. And they want you to use the hints on this page to help you answer the questions. All right, so let's first look up here and take a look. Hold on a minute. Okay, let's look at the parts of this play. Okay, we can see that these are the stage directions. Okay, so the exposition is where they are just introducing the theme and the setting and the characters at the beginning of the story. So the exposition would be explaining here that where they are, that they're going on a trip to the museum. Okay. All right. That's kind of setting the stage. All right. So the rising action. Okay. Let's take a look at the rising action. As they glance around, hold on, as they glance around, oopsie, as they glance around, the boys discover they're alone. Okay? And then the climax is that the boys begin walking. As they pass the T-Rex, a tremendous roar booms out and they jump back terrified. And then the falling action would be suddenly a distressed teacher hurriedly runs onto the stage. Okay? So there's that. Now, what will we circle? Circle the episode at the end of the play that resolves their conflict. Well, their conflict is that they find out that they're all alone. They realize that the class has left them, okay? They want to find their class because they're 4 hours from home and don't want to be stranded at the museum, but they got separated from their class because they got distracted by this dinosaur exhibit. So, all right, so let's take a look here. Let me take this off so I can move it down. Oh, we lost that, but you should still have it. Okay. Okay, so let's look at the very end and see if their conflict is resolved. Remember, the conflict is that they are lost. They got separated, not really lost, they got separated from their class and they want to find them. So it says, circle the episode at the end of the play that resolves their conflict. Well, this is the resolution right here, that Mr. Flynn is distressed. That means that he's upset and worried, okay? And he's been searching everywhere for him. And then look what happens with him. He gets distracted by the awesome dinosaur exhibit. But they go to get their class and get back to see the dinosaur display before lunch. All right? All right, I hope that helps you to understand the elements of this drama, okay? And we used exposition, and we used conflict and rising action, climax, falling action, and then the resolution, okay? All right, so now what I'd like you to do is go down here to these questions, okay? I'm going to read them, but I'd like you to answer them, okay? So let's look at the hints here. It says, which choice illustrates the main problem that drives the rest of the story's events? Okay, so let's take a look. And number 1 says, what is the conflict in the stories? Okay, so what's the problem? What's the conflict? A, the dinosaur exhibit distracts people too much. B, the boys have gotten separated from their class. C, the boys don't know their way around the museum. D, the teacher is angry at the boys for not paying attention. So you circle the one that you think is the conflict. All right, the next hint says, which choice shows how the play's problem is solved without focusing on the events leading up to the resolution? All right, so number 2 says, which episode from the plot serves as the resolution? Resolution means how the conflict was solved, okay? So A, James and Jamal get distracted by the T-Rex and end up lost. B, James and Jamal make a plan to search for their class. C, James and Jamal hear noises coming from the dinosaur display. D, James and Jamal are found by Mr. Flynn and go get their class. Okay? You circle one of those. All right, now it says, what is the conflict in this plot? Would an alternate resolution solve the problem? Why or why not? Okay, so it says here on 3, explain another way that the author could have resolved the conflict in this play. Describe whether or not it would be a good resolution based on the play's plot events. Use at least 2 specific examples to support your response. So it's really just like rewriting the ending and how what's another way that it could have been resolved. Okay, I will let you do that. Hold on one second. Okay, so for number 3, maybe you could think of a way to resolve it that the boys solved the problem on their own. Okay, it got solved because Mr. Flynn found them. But if you're thinking of another way to make another ending, think of a way the boys could have solved it on their own. That's a little hint. Okay. All righty. I think that is it. All right, I'm going to pause and get the writing piece out, and then we'll be done. So let me get the writing. Okay, the writing portion is on page 11. So it says correcting vague pronouns. Well, you know what a pronoun is. It is a word that takes the place of a noun. A noun is a person, place, or thing, and a pronoun takes the place. So let's say if we use, excuse me, Savan is a pronoun, but if we say he, Savan is a noun, and if we say he, that's a pronoun, okay? All right, so vague pronouns are unclear or not clear to the reader. So let's look at this. Pronouns help writers to avoid repetition. Excuse me. But when a pronoun is vague or unclear, readers can't tell what or whom it refers to. So a pronoun may be unclear if there is more than one noun to which the pronoun could be referring. For example, the cliff dwellings at Mesa Verde were built by the ancestral Pueblo people. Unclear. They show us what life was like there thousands of years ago. Okay, that's vague because they there is referring to the cliff dwellings, not the ancestral Pueblo people. Okay, it could be referring to the cliff dwellings or the Pueblo people. And then you can fix the pronoun or the problem by changing the pronoun to the correct noun. So you could say these dwellings, you see, show us what life was like there thousands of years ago. All right, so I'm pretty sure Miss Allen went through all of this with you and this. So I'm going to go on to the independent practice. I'm going to read this and then you can work on it or answer the questions as I read it. All right. So it says the ancestral Pueblo people moved to Mesa Verde around 550 CE, but the cliff dwellings weren't built until around 1200 CE. They showed a high degree of skill in stone masonry. They do not know why the ancestral Pueblo people moved into the cliffs. They might have been safer in harsh weather. Whatever the reason, these people moved to the cliffs. It is amazing. Okay, first off, let me explain this CE, which stands for Common Era or Current Era. We used to say before Christ and after Christ to denote time, but now they kind of changed that, and now we'll say before the current era, or that would be BCE, and CE is the current era. So, or era meaning time here. So let's just say that this is today, 2020, and they would say CE, okay? All right, so let's go back here, and what this used to be is when Christ was born, so that would start it. Now it would say start at 0. And so when we get to 550 CE, it would be about here, 550 years after Christ's birth. And then this would be, you see, 1200 CE. All right, this isn't to scale. This is just, I'm just trying to illustrate. And then you see here we're in 2020. So they're talking about the Pueblos that lived way back here. It says the ancestral Pueblo people moved to Mesa Verde around 550. Okay, so Mesa Verde is now a national park in Colorado. Okay, so they moved to that area, the Pueblos, in 550. Okay, but the cliff dwellings weren't built until around 1200. Okay, they showed a high degree of skill in stone masonry. They do not know why the ancestral Pueblo people moved into the cliffs. They might have been safer in harsh weather. Whatever the reason these people moved to the cliffs, it is amazing. Okay, so I just want to give you background on what you're reading about. Some of these things are not written correctly, and that's what you're going to look for now. All right, okay, so let's move up so I can read the questions. All right, so number 1 says, let's see. Read the paragraph for numbers 1 to 3. Choose a revision that corrects the vague pronoun in each numbered sentence in the paragraph. Okay, so number 1, we are going to look at this sentence here. They showed a high degree of skill in stone masonry. Okay, so the thing is, who is they referring to? So it says the ancestral Pueblo people moved to Mesa Verde around 550 CE. But the cliff dwellings weren't built until around 1200. Okay, so are they referring to the people here? They showed a high degree of skill in stone masonry, or are they referring to the cliff dwellings showed a high degree of skill in stone masonry? Okay, so now cliff dwellings would not be something that would show a high degree of skill. That would be people that would show a high degree of skill in stone masonry. Okay, that's building with stone. All right, so let's look and find, whoops, it's not going back. Hold on, there we go. Okay, so number 1 says, A, they showed skill in stone masonry to a high degree. B, all showed a high degree of skill in stone masonry. C, a high degree of skill in stone masonry was shown by them. D, the Pueblo people showed a high degree of skill in stone masonry. So, which one of those should be there instead of they showed a high degree? Which sentence would make it better, clear and concise? And I gave you a hint in that this has to refer to people because it's people that have skills to do things. All right? All right, number 2, oh wait, we got to read the sentence first. They do not know why the ancestral people moved into the cliffs. Okay, so, okay, A, archaeologists are not sure why the ancestral Pueblo people moved into the cliffs. B, the ancestral Pueblo people do not know why they moved into the cliffs. C, it is unknown to them why the ancestral Pueblo moved into the cliffs. D, why the ancestral Puebloans moved into the cliffs, they do not know. All right, so let's take a look. Okay, this one, you need a little bit of background. Not sure if you know much. There's nothing in here mentioning archaeologists, okay? I don't know how much you know about archaeologists, and they study prehistoric people and their cultures and things they've built and things. So it's not, you have to understand that. It's not mentioned in here, but it's something you can kind of figure out because it says they do not know why the ancestral Pueblo people moved into the cliffs. Well, it wouldn't be B. The ancestral Pueblo people do not know why. They're not going to say they don't know why they didn't. It's them that moved into the cliffs, okay? All right, so they are archaeologists, I'm giving you a big hint here, are not sure why. And those are the people that study the Pueblo people. Okay, so it would be the archaeologists are not sure instead of they do not know. Okay, all right, and then number 3, let's read this sentence first. They might have been safer in harsh weather. Whatever the reason these people moved to the cliffs, it is amazing. Okay. A, in harsh weather, they might have been safer. B, their safety might have been greater in harsh weather. C, cliff dwellings might have been safer in harsh weather. D, it might be because of their safety in harsh weather. Okay, so they're saying here that the archaeologists did not know why they moved to the cliffs. So, what do you think they is referring to? Is it referring to the people might have been safer in harsh weather, or are they there because the cliffs might have been safer for the people in harsh weather? Okay, whatever the reason these people moved to the cliffs, it is amazing. Okay, so what helped them be safer in the harsh weather? Okay, there's the hint. All right, so, all right, it looks like that is it. So, guys, that's it for today. You guys have a wonderful weekend. All righty, bye.